This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, about 150 people gather in Gore to protest against mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations among healthcare workers. A person has been killed and 4 injured after a 2-car crash in Riverton. And a vintage visitor lands in Dunedin on its way to celebrate a special birthday. Tēnā koutou katoa, kia ora, I'm Simon Anderson. A group of about 150 COVID-19 vaccinated and unvaccinated people made their feelings known over the weekend in Gore. The protesters are opposed to the mandatory vaccination of healthcare workers.
The government has mandated that all health and disability workers must receive their first dose of the COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine by midnight on Monday and their second dose by the new year. That's a call which isn't pleasing everyone.
I believe it's everybody's right to choose what they get to put in their bodies. It's their right to have the power to earn a living without that being taken away from them.
There are 190 new cases of COVID-19 in New Zealand today, mostly in Auckland, but 2 crew members have tested positive on board a ship in Bluff. The protesters gathered outside Gore Hospital on Saturday to push back against the lack of choice healthcare workers have around receiving the vaccine. Lauren Gooselag says the vaccines being given across the globe haven't been properly trialled.
It's only in its trial stages still, but it's being forced and coerced. People have been coerced into taking something that they otherwise wouldn't.
A lone security guard watched from the hospital's grounds as the well-behaved group chatted and laid lilies on the front garden. The issue is very close to home for Gooselag.
My mum's been a nurse for nearly 40 years, yes.
And she doesn't want to get back?
She wants to make the choice of what she puts in her body. She doesn't want to be told that she could lose her job because she doesn't want to take something that has now been mandated.
Protesters dispersed after a couple of hours. Gore Hospital Chief Executive Carl Metzler says their focus is on the 95% of vaccinated Gore Health staff who remain committed to providing health services to the people of Eastern Southland. Meanwhile, around 30 members of the group Voices for Freedom held a rally in Cumberland Street in Dunedin on Saturday. The group are behind nationwide distribution of leaflets, which health experts say contain misinformation about the Pfizer vaccine. In the South Today.
A new centre for disabled people in the Wakatipu region is about to open. The local council is charging organisers just $1 for rent per year. However, more than $250,000 needs to be raised to renovate the building.
Almost completely refurbished, the Living Options Charitable Trust Support Centre in Arrowtown is close to being open as a dedicated centre for disabled people in the Wakatipu region.
It's a place where people with disabilities can come, do different activities depending on what they like to do. So some people will do art, they'll be in the garden, drama, cooking, learning life skills.
The property's owned by the local council and is being leased to the charitable trust at $1 per annum. But over $250,000 needed to be raised to pay for the retrofit. This cost has been covered with a $100,000 donation and the Suzuki Vitara from the Hugo Charitable Trust, plus another $100,000 from the Wakatipu Community Foundation, as well as other donations, including $50,000 from one local family.
We've been working on this for the last couple of years. It's been a dream and the community have all made this a reality.
The contractors and subcontractors also gave substantial discounts during the refurbishment of the building. It's hoped the centre will be up and running within the next fortnight. In Arrowtown, the South Today.
It was a bad morning on Southland roads with 3 serious crashes in just over an hour. One person was struck by a car in Invercargill, another person was injured when a truck and car collided on the Winton-Lawnville highway. They were transported to Southland Hospital with moderate injuries. But in Riverton, one person was killed in a two-car crash this morning on Palmerston Street. Police have confirmed 4 others were seriously injured in the crash. Emergency services were called to the fatal accident in the small Southland town at around 8:30 a.m. The road was closed for a number of hours and a serious crash unit is investigating. Police searching for a missing Central Otago man have been reenacting his last known movements a week after he was last seen. 50-year-old Wayne Hammond was seen leaving his Henderson Drive home in Alexandra at 7:30 a.m. last Monday, the 1st of November. His 1999 white and silver Mitsubishi Challenger four-wheel drive with rock gas printed on the side was found underneath the Clyde Bridge at about 3 p.m. that day. Land and water searches in the Clutha River by the police dive squad have failed to find him. Police say they are undertaking the same journey Hammond took a week ago in hopes it would help someone recall seeing the vehicle last Monday. Anyone with information which may assist is asked to call police on 105. Dunedin has welcomed a classic visitor from the sky making its journey north for a special birthday. The historic de Havilland biplane stopped over this week and one aircraft enthusiast is loving the trip.
Firmly on the ground for a quick stopover, this 1943 de Havilland biplane landed on Otairi for a few days as part of a journey up the South Island. The Domini Tui is heading northwards to celebrate Nelson Airport's 75th anniversary this month. Mainland Air's Philip Keane has been a fan of the classic warplane for about 70 years.
Well, I used to watch it flying out of the cargo back in the 50s, late 50s. And then it went to Queenstown, or it went to Te Ritchie Air Services. And then I remember seeing it at Gore Airport in the 60s. So I've sort of associated since the late 50s. It's one from that big till now, you know.
The World War II biplane has twin Gypsy Queen engines and it was almost sold to an Australian buyer before the Historic Places Trust stepped in. 27-year-old pilot Jordan Keane will fly the biplane alongside his father Philip, who's relishing the chance to nurture the love of biplanes among younger generations. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, the government announces an alert level change, but will it affect the South? And we visit a Dunedin school putting on their gumboots for a good cause. See you after the break.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
think the best thing about it is we're all there to ride safely and deliver that message to, some of the kids that are out there, hopefully showcase that riders and drivers can integrate together. So yeah, it's just being part of sharing that message really of riding safely when you're out on the road.
Alert levels are set to change, but not for Dunedin or the rest of the South Island. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has announced that Auckland will move down to Step 2 of Alert Level 3 from midnight tomorrow. That will allow retail shops and public facilities in Auckland to reopen with limits on outdoor gatherings increased to 25 people. However, businesses hosting larger groups in close contact like gyms and movie theatres will remain closed. First dose vaccination levels in Auckland reached 90% over the weekend. Northland will move to Alert Level 2 on Thursday night, but alert levels in all other regions are unchanged. A Gumboot Day Mental Health Awareness Day was held across the country recently with a group of Dunedin children doing their bit for the cause. These Balmacewen Intermediate School pupils put their best feet forward to help raise awareness of mental health issues as part of Gumboot Day. Sophie Thode says it's an issue at the forefront of many young people's minds.
Hope is sponsoring Gumboot Friday, which is helping with funding or counselling mental health. A lot of kids our age or older are struggling with mental health and they can't get help.
She says lots of young people struggle to ask for help, lacking the confidence to put their hands up. The group thought doing something silly, like running in gumboots, was a great way to reduce mental health stigma. The girls raised more than $1,200 over 5 weeks of fundraising and are still accepting donations. It was a weekend in the past in Lawrence as the town held its annual Heritage Weekend showcasing its Gold Rush history. Visitors from Queenstown and Dunedin enjoyed the sunny weekend to learn more about the town's bustling past.
Panning for gold isn't a common pastime these days, but weekend visitors to Lawrence were keen to see whether they could strike it lucky. As part of Lawrence's Heritage Weekend, locals proudly showed off the machines and lifestyles that saw the small town boom during the gold rush.
We actually don't have to put anything on real special, we just do what we are able to do with what we've got, and people just love to come and enjoy what we have to offer. It's simple for us, but people find it fascinating.
Nearby Gabriel's Gully was the site of Otago's first major gold strike, transforming the province into the wealthiest in New Zealand, with a population double that of Dunedin. Tuapaka Museum manager Jess Weichler is happy people could visit the town to understand and share some local history.
Got lots of people coming from all over, and some of them are just hopping in for the day, but some of them are here also trying to explore their history, and that's really awesome to meet some descendants of people who founded this town.
After a weekend of entertaining visitors, the next big task is to keep these classic machines in working condition for next year's Heritage Day. In Lawrence, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, we look at how new ownership could affect the Otago Nuggets, and a record is broken to end the tour of Southland. Hei koko ake nei.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Just plan your route a little bit, choose nice and quiet roads. In the winter it's always nice to ride north and south, that way you get the driest route and less likely to hit black ice.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hey, what have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent. Love it. Chicks World. Chicks World. Right.
Nā mai anō, welcome back. The future of the Otago Nuggets basketball team has been given a boost with a new owner confirmed this morning. Radio and online broadcaster Sport Entertainment Network New Zealand has acquired the licence for the Otago Nuggets franchise. The company says it's committed to the NBL team staying in New Zealand and maintaining its strong connection with the community. Otago Nuggets General Manager Angela Rusk says the new ownership will bring greater commercial opportunities and operational support to ensure the sustainability of the team in the league. The Sal's NBL is due to tip off again next April. Canterbury's Michael Vink rode his way into New Zealand's cycling history books over the weekend. The 29-year-old broke a Tour of Southland course record on his way to claim his third title.
Michael Vink's ridden the Tour of Southland road cycling race more than 10 times. On Saturday, he added his name to an elite group who've won 3 titles, including Hayden Ralston and Brian Fowler. Vink's Transport Engineering Tallies team have been defending the leader's yellow jersey since a slick solo ride on stage 1.
It's a bit of a different feeling, to be honest. I think taking the jersey really early and really making a mark on the race on day 2 was, we certainly had a target on our backs all week, and it's more a feeling of relief, I think, this tour as opposed to other ones to finally finish off after, I think it was 5 days leading the race.
Vink continued that strong run into Invercargill to seal his victory. Earlier in the day, he broke the time trial course record in Winton to get one hand on the prized trophy.
I knew that, my position was good and my legs were good, and obviously you never know the time till you cross the finish line, and there's always things that can change with different wind conditions and things, but all you got to do is just put your head down and ride as fast as you can, and it's pretty simple really, and that's what I did.
The talented rider enjoying passing on his knowledge and experience to younger teammates. All cyclists just happy to be part of a competitive event.
We take everything we can, as a bonus at the moment. We never know what's going to be on, what's going to be cancelled, so anytime we get the chance to race, we jump at it, and even this race was in jeopardy for a while.
It's the end of the season now for most riders, a chance to recharge before joining international teams. In Invercargill, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. About 150 people gathered in Gore to protest against mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations among healthcare workers. A person has been killed and 4 injured after a 2-car crash in Riverton. And a vintage visitor lands in Dunedin on its way to celebrate a special birthday. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we welcome Deputy Editor Craig Page. Kia ora, Craig.
Good evening, Simon. Yeah, a bit of a stark reminder for those in the south today that COVID is still lurking. 2 crew aboard a container ship in Bluff testing positive for COVID today. The container vessel arrived in Bluff from Malaysia and was bound for Timaru. So, though apparently a lot of the crew were due to disembark and head home and had to be tested as part of the processes for that, and that's how it was picked up. So 23 crew remain on their vessel at the moment. We understand most of them have been vaccinated, so that's something, I guess. But we talked to local health officials from Southland about what precautions are in place for this sort of thing. It's not the first time it's happened. Only a couple of months ago we had a similar situation as well. So, and it comes today as the government announces a bit of a relaxation of Auckland's restrictions as well. They'll be allowed to go and buy their coffees as of this week, and slightly larger gatherings as well. So good news for them. But yeah, I guess we all sit and wait what happens from here over coming weeks. Our travel pages, we've got a bit of a focus on a new book called A Bunk for the Night, and it profiles some of the great backcountry huts that exist around New Zealand. Really interesting. Not exactly 5-star accommodation, but if you're looking for comfortable, quirky, I guess with the odd rodent, then this is your ticket. Yeah, not easy to get to either, so lots of long tramps, so a welcome bed at the end of it. But some of them have some really great stories, so it is well worth a read, that article. Sport, we've got more on the Nuggets as well, of course, plenty there. And we also pay tribute to our North Otago sports correspondent, Terry O'Neill, who's recently stood aside from his media commitments. Right. He first wrote covering club sport out of North Otago 50 years ago for us, and has done an amazing job. Very passionate about North Otago rugby and their team, as is Hayden Meikle. So it's, yeah, you get them either side of you and you can't get a word in. But yeah, he's an amazing man, done a lot for just that ground level sport. You know, he's kept it in the profile. So we wish him the best, and yeah, it's going to be sadly missed by us all. So all the best, Terry.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, a fine weekend ahead with plenty of sunshine inland and sunny periods about the coasts too. Summer seems around the corner as temperatures become warmer. The northwest starts us off, both centres on 18 degrees, and that's mild compared to much of the island. It's a little cloudy in Greymouth, while Westport sees even less cloud. To the northeast, the sun's out in Nelson on 20 degrees and Blenheim reaches 24, just patches of cloud for you. Across to the Canterbury coast, partial cloud across this region, 17 degrees for Kaikoura and Christchurch and 21 in Ashburton. Moderate north to northeast winds blow through towns across the south carrying high cloud. It's 22 everywhere inland, still mild in the Catlins on 18 degrees. Across to the Central Lakes, Tiano is the odd one out on 18 degrees with showers and fresh northerlies, 24 and 25 everywhere else as Queenstown, Wanaka and Alexandra experience moderate winds and high cloud. To the northern outlook, cooler on the coast here too. Oamaru and Timaru experience east to northeast winds and some cloud reaching 19 degrees. Twizel and Omarama get up to 25 degrees tomorrow with light northerlies and cloud. In Dunedin tonight, low cloud and mist and an overnight low of 11 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow and Wednesday with fresh breezy northeasterlies, though some sunny periods in the afternoons. quite humid, a high of 19 and a low of 10 tomorrow, while Wednesday delivers a high of 18 and a low of 11. And in Invercargill, a fine night tonight with an overnight low of 7 degrees. Fine tomorrow and Wednesday too, just some high cloud across the sky. Tomorrow a high of 21 degrees and a low of 8, and it's 20 and 8 on Wednesday. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz, and you can follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe to be notified of that Southern news as it happens. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.